Record on this. Hi, Jackie. How are you doing today?
Hello. Very good, thank you.
Thanks for joining me today. I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions about what it's like to be a female driver in the Boyle fleet and a couple of questions about yourself. And the first question is, what made you decide to enter the trucking industry?
I have been fascinated with big trucks since I was a very little girl. My neighbor next door when I was growing up used to drive a semi truck and he'd park it out in front of the house and I could run up to the fence line and I had to stop right there and he'd let me climb around in the truck when I was 5, 6 years old and I was always been fascinated. But what ultimately was the push for me was just the fact that I was in another industry and had just multiple bad experiences, and I needed a change. And trucking seemed like it was a really good fit for me.
Fantastic. As a woman, do you think that you're treated or paid differently than a man? I guess that's two different questions, isn't it?
It is. It is. I'll touch on the pay scale first because I think that uh, it's a little bit easier. As a woman in the trucking industry, I feel very strongly, especially with Boyle, that there is a lot of um, I guess the right wording would be there is a lot of equality within the company. Hands down, equality within the company. I believe that we get paid very fairly and we get paid just as much as the men who drive with the company.
How about the second question about being treated differently just in the industry as a woman?
In the industry as a woman, I have definitely come across some things that I felt were a little bit unfair. There have been occurrences of specifically with dock personnel, not so much as drivers. Drivers, they all tend to look at you like you're a driver. I've had one or two occurrences with men that were negative, but for the most part, it's been positive. Um, but for the most part, it's been positive.
Fantastic. What do you like about working with Boyle?
Oh gosh, there's so many things to put in that statement right there. I think the biggest thing is for me, we are treated fairly and we are treated equally from the from the pay scale to if we have an issue with the truck, we're not treated like we are ignorant. We're treated like, coming from a driver, I hear something or I notice something and the people in our maintenance department, they take us seriously. I like the fact that with Boyle, there is very truly a team atmosphere. It is very much about family. It's not about, oh, the guys at the top get paid the most and they don't care about anyone. That is so not true. I've never experienced with a company what Boyle offers. Never. We won't ever leave. If we do, it'll be because we retire.
Yeah. Yeah, I just loved it when I was driving with them, and being able to fill this role has been great. I mean, I can't see myself working for another company right now, I mean, it's just been a great experience for me for sure. Describe a typical week for you and your partner.
A typical week for my partner and I run midnight to noon. She runs noon to midnight. So we try to adhere to those hours just to keep a good healthy sleep schedule, a good healthy eating schedule. We're both trying to shed some weight that we had gained over a course of years of being very sedentary. We've incorporated a little bit of a workout routine based on being in and around the truck, which is still kind of new and we're working out the kinks to it, but it's working. It's starting to become a little bit of a habit. We don't drive as many miles as I would say the normal truck driver drives, but we we have a huge amount of availability for security, which I think is awesome. A typical week, it just depending on what we're hauling and the security levels are different, but I like the fact that there is that ability to have a little bit of downtime, get a little bit of extra rest, and when we're needed, we're on top of our game. We're not road weary. We're not so tired we can't function and but expected to, like with other companies. Boyle has a lot of things set in place where the drivers and health is very much the focus, which is appreciated. I don't
Yeah.
know how to explain a typical week other than going into specifics. I apologize, Laura.
No, it's that was perfect. So when you do your exercise workout in the truck, are you using any exercise bands? Do you what does that look like in and around the truck?
Well, we have exercise bands, but I haven't really gotten into using them as much as my drive partner has. Basically, for me, it's getting in and out of the trailer and doing the sweeping and doing instead of opting for a blower, we opt to do the sweeping just so we can get that extra, little bit of range of motion. We do laps around the truck. We have a toolbox on the side, and I do, I guess it's passive push-ups because you're leaning instead of on the ground. So it's
Okay.
not, one, it's not as dirty. And two, it gives you that resistance of your own body weight without being too much. And
Yeah,
then utilizing the steps to do, step up, step down, because you have the handholds, it's a lot easier. There's a lot of safety there. And then stretching has been a large part of our day too. So
fantastic. What would you say to someone considering applying to Boyle?
I would say you're making a very, very good decision for yourself, not only financially, which I mean, everyone realistically, the bottom line is the bottom line, and the finances are what bring you in, but there is so much here to offer just to stay in the seat as a driver. It's an amazing experience, and the fact that you're treated as a professional and not just as a number, that goes without saying. Your experience on the road, your life experience, in the respect that is given here, you're being considered on every level. You can't find that anywhere else. You just simply cannot. Um, One piece of advice that I might offer someone is make sure that you're serious about wanting to do this, because the expectation of being a professional is definitely there. And being part of this family and this group and this dynamic is all about helping one another. And when you see other teams out on the road, everybody waves. If we happen to be at a facility with other teams, we go and we talk to each other, we greet each other. Hey, how's it going? One little just side note, we were on the yard in Billerica, and my drive partner was inside talking with several teams that happened to be on the yard and mentioned the fact that I wasn't well. I had gotten a really bad fever, and it wasn't it wasn't awfully debilitating, but enough to where I needed to have bed rest and I needed to have medication. And it was almost instantaneous when she said, "Oh, my drive partner is ill." Everyone in the room was like, "Oh no, is she okay? What do you need? How can we help you? Do you need anything? Please let us know." And that is just the overall general attitude of every person who drives for Boyle, and not just the drivers, operations, maintenance, every department, every person. I love that.
That was really significant for me just to have that time to spend with your fellow professional driver. When I was driving with them, it was because it was so much different than other companies that I had worked for, to be able to have that one-on-one communication with your fellow professional. I mean, that was really significant to me. It was really great to be able to meet probably 95% of the teams while I was driving as well. just because you have that opportunity to do that and you just don't have the time in other companies. I think that that's.
That's very true. That's very true.
Has anything surprised you about being a part of the Boyle team?
All of the things that I just mentioned
Okay,
were surprising to me. The experiences that I had had before with other companies were, I was never greeted by my name because nobody knew my name.
right.
I was never encouraged to learn more. I was never encouraged to invest in myself, to become an asset, not just for myself and my own professionalism, but also for the company, which Boyle is constantly trying to train us. We have modules that we do, and I actually find them very interesting. I like doing the training. Sometimes I don't like doing it, but that's just because it's, you know, I don't want to read this, but it works out in the end being a very, very good thing all the way around.
Fantastic. How does Boyle stand out in the industry?
Oh gosh. I would say that it is the level of respect, and you can feel it in a way. When we go into a facility, we are treated very well by the employees there because we treat people well. And that just, we have multiple times been told, I love our Boyle drivers that come in. Everyone is so, nice and polite and professional, and they don't give us attitude. And why would we give anyone attitude to begin with? That's that, I think that Boyle shows us that they are invested in us, which allows us to become more invested in ourselves and level up.
Yeah,
It's like a personal level up.
yeah, I
And
love
I
that.
think that people view Boyle as being leveled up. I don't know any other way to say it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The respect and just the high quality.
What do you want to tell your fellow drivers or fellow, potential applicants about the DoD process?
It can be a little intimidating at first. It it carries a lot of significance for you as an individual, not just as a driver. Um, from I would say the aspects of even your patriotism, because you know that we're going to be helping out in a lot of different ways with our country, and just keep focused and get all your little ducks lined up. Make sure that you tell the truth, and it may take a little time or it may not take any time at all. It's just one of those processes, but it's well worth it.
Yeah, and that leads into my last question, which is Boyle worth the wait?
Yes, absolutely. I believe so. I I happened upon Boyle um, working with another company, and I spoke with the driver who became our mentor when we came into Boyle, which is one of the things that makes Boyle stand out also, is the fact that you have mentorship. Um, we then contacted you within the next day because of all the things that our mentor had information wise given to us. It was just almost too good to be true. But then after we got in the door, not even after we got in the door, after we talked to you and then got in the door and realized that one, everything you told us absolutely was true. Everything that you said would come our way has come our way and then some. It was definitely worth the wait and worth the process. And the training is intense, but it's needed because we are leveled up.
Mhm. I love that. Thank you so much for participating. I hope this to be the first in a series of interviews that we do with our professional drivers, just to give people an idea of what to expect and our processes and kind of how people found us and how to level up, you know, if they want to do that in the
Right.
industry. Thank you so much.
Thank you for asking me, Laura.